Now there's two things I want to clear up before we start on this. Number one, it should look a bit better next time. I have fixed it with viewport issues, but right now, this is what we've dealt with. I didn't realise until afterwards, and I really didn't feel like going back through the 3+ hours it took me to get the hell out of Helgen and get to the Whiterun area where the game can actually start. For this part though, something that became very obvious very early on is that 250 mods makes the thing about as stable as an alcoholic. The mic on the Quest isn't that great. So you may hear some peaking, you need to forgive some of the audio quality. The Oculus mic isn't the best, but it's what I have to work with at the time. Hopefully it should be good. If not, well, let's not worry about if not. My main goal for this series isn't even completing the game, although that's one of the things I want to do. The main goal for this is for me to learn video editing. This is one of the best ways for me to do it, and to be able to do it in the long form. Now, hopefully the quality should go up as time goes on, but I make zero promises because there is every chance it's just going to get worse as time goes on as I descend into the hell that is editing. But regardless, I hope people stick around, I hope people enjoy or get a faint laugh out of this. But either way, this is my playthrough. I'm going to speed through the beginning of the game, so the Helgen area, so the rest of the game is all exploration, and hopefully I don't need to do too many more of these segments. So without delaying the inevitable anymore, here it is. So the game started fine, except for the fact we're sitting about 6 feet above where we should be sitting. My guess is that this was caused by mods, but it did make the bridge a little interesting. Still better than being launched into space by a rabbit heading the carriage. But we're here, still floating above the rest of the people we managed to get out of the carriage safely in Helgen. Well, as safe as you can be awaiting an execution. We then got to mess around and create a new character, and then I was introduced to the god-awful UI that has been introduced by one of the mods I've picked up. Just look at this thing, it's a monstrosity! After messing around with the head size and neck size for a little bit, we settled on a character. We've gone with a hot pink Argonian this time, who is not going to take any crap from anyone. It's going to be a little bit of a chaotic playthrough. I'm going to be picking some choices I don't normally pick, and for some enhanced chaos you can see that the VR model doesn't always enjoy being in certain positions during cutscenes. Yeah, this one got real bad. But at least Alduin came and saved us, and then we were off to the races. Or at least I thought we were off to the races, but then we started to have some issues with certain buildings not being broken, but that wasn't going to stop me. This is Skyrim, and walls are merely a suggestion. Unfortunately for myself though, as much as I did manage to make it certain distance, walls proved difficult for NPCs. So I restarted. Yeah, I'm sitting down for this. Man lost his hair. After some issues, we were right back at it, and this time, thankfully, everything that needed to be broken was broken. Alduin was doing his job again, and we managed to progress until we had to pick which side we were initially going to go with. There's no right choice here, but I had some solid reasoning behind what I picked. Fuck it, Imperial today. Wait, no, you were Bricks. You guys today. No, fuck you over later. And with that, we were within Helgen, ready to start our adventure proper. Untie me. Untie me. Beautiful. And with a little bit of a prep, we were then ready to take on our first set of challengers, who just so happened to be the people who falsely imprisoned us. Now, I'd be lying if I said this wasn't cathartic, but something about fighting them in VR just adds some extra oomph to it. This high was short-lived though, sadly, as the result of 250 mods made itself clear with our first crash here. But with a quick reload, we were back in the action and testing out the physics of the game, which is very satisfying. Sadly the door wasn't though. Now while Ralof was hurting his back here carrying me, I decided to mess around with my inventory a bit and sort out some of my spell wheel for quicker, more efficient use. Sadly the swords don't really have much collision here, but they are definitely very satisfying to throw into an Imperial's back when they're not looking. Or a Stormcloak. Whoops. Well anyway, finally we were underneath Helgen. Somewhere I thought I would have been roughly about 20 minutes ago if it wasn't for Alduin not doing his job being a homewrecker and for the restarts, which took us back a little bit more than I would have liked. But hey, at least we got some practice in, we managed to burn a few things, we managed to stab a few things, life was good. Now the thing here is, while we know this playthrough back to front, It's not very good here because I've color corrected a little bit, but this game is dark as hell in VR. I took this torch genuinely just to be able to see. I really did find a new appreciation for Helgen though, because I thought it was a much shorter intro than what it was, but I realised I do appreciate for what it is. It gives you access to a lot of new things, it gives you choices early on, it lets you make mistakes, it lets you attack things in a way that you want to go for it, whether you want to be melee, ranged, magic. It kind of made me sad that this game is about 11 years old and most new tutorials don't give you the chance to experiment at all. Like, we've had a dragon appear that we're supposed to run away from, we've had Imperials to fight or Stormcloaks to fight, depending on which side you choose, and then after you finally get through this long and meandering cave, there is spiders you need to kill. That's already 3 different enemy types at the very start of the game. Now this here is my failed attempt at archery, as I saw this bear coming and I was like, oh well, we could try and stealth around it, or we could try and get the bows to work. And here's me realizing that actual archery is hard, like really hard. It's understandable why it's a sport now, because even just holding the controller up this entire time started to kill my arm after a few minutes. And that bear is beefy. Despite my clear inability to aim straight, we did manage to take care of the bear eventually, and that's pretty much the last time I think I'll be touching bows for a while. But afterwards we went through, I forgot there was never any loot here. After actually taking out the bear, there isn't any reward. You are genuinely probably supposed to stealth past this part, but I was just too adept to remember that. But then we were finally outside, and my god did I forget how pretty this game was. That and the 2K textures really help. But anyways, we now have to get to Riverwood and find this guy's sister? I've never actually done the Imperial side of things before, so I was excited to see what it gets, because if you go the Stormcloak side, you get the blacksmith, access to the resources. I was really excited for it to see how it would go. Now, I've cut it out a bunch here on the way down, but I am essentially taking everything not nailed down at the start of the game, because I remember how goddamn difficult it is, and poor Realof was waiting on me most of the time, and then I speed past him. Now over here, we finally get to the stones. I had a quick look at the 3 of them again, but I ultimately chose the arcane one because I have the better magic mod installed, and I really want to see how good it can be. Now, after picking this and getting distracted with scenery again because of how goddamn gorgeous this game is, we finally start to make our way back to Riverwood. But not before I get Realof to carry me one last time. You know, gotta exercise his back, and then we make it finally back to Riverwood. And this is me trying to figure out how the hell I put my stuff away so I don't scare citizens. But then we finally go and look for Realof's sister, who is over by the mill, an area I don't think I've really checked out too much. But after finding out her name is Gurdar, which should be a crime against children, we find out that she is not entirely helpful without him appearing. But after we get Realof to speak to her for a quick second, we find out that she can do a grand total of nothing to really help us at all. I can see why everyone picks Stormcloak at the very start, because that blacksmith is so much more helpful in every possible way. Not gonna lie, after that disappointment, I genuinely got distracted for about 10-20 minutes just messing around with the physics and trying to see how I can interact with other characters. And it got a little bit interesting, but I really did like how it works. Like, for an 11-year-old game that was built with physics in mind, it definitely still works, and it integrates with the VR seamlessly. But then it wasn't long until I decided to set out for my way to Whiterun. I wanted to try and get there as quick as possible, get some of the quests started, get some money together and a home base, because I was going to have to relearn how to play a lot of this game. There was only one issue though. While I was on the way there and killing pretty much anything that had a pulse anywhere near it, I forgot something major about the very beginning of the game. Whiterun pretty much locks you out at the start and you have to find a way in, which wasn't much of a problem at all. But the first story quest of the game does in fact send you exactly back where I came from to go to Bleak Falls Barrow, which I realised right here. Now that's everything I'm going to do for part 1 here. I'm going to round it off around about the 10-minute mark because I don't want it to meander on too much longer. But after editing this, holy crap, does this take a long time to do, so I'm probably going to put out one piece maybe every 2 weeks if I can. But hopefully you enjoyed a bit of this, some of it gives you a slight laugh, a chuckle, something close to that. But until then, see you later.